Good evening, Tech 2 wonderful people. Sorry for the small tech delay. We are back. All is sorted. Captain Peach has done a fantastic job of getting everything all fixed up despite all the little tech gremlins that are here. Welcome. I am Frosty, joined by Sun Phoenix. We're here, and we are here to cast this Division 1 match of the Rhino Showdown between XvG Ragnarok versus Five Nights at Freddy's. We are going to do a very quick intro, and then we're going to jump straight into the action.
Yeah, this is you and my first cast of the new tournament, the Rhino Showdown, so it should be a lot of fun. As you can imagine, with load shedding and everything, guys, everything is on a very short or condensed time scale here. We've got to get things going very swiftly. So we are pretty much already into Nepal here, but as you said, Frosty, it is Five Nights at Freddy's taking on XvG Ragnarok. If you don't know XvG Ragnarok, we have like 4 VODs that you can go and watch, and you'll see pretty much the same roster that we'll see today, except for one significant change, and that is, well, 2 as it turns out, because of technical issues, not just for us, but for the players as well. There's going to be Lavius now coming in from Blackwatch, I believe. If you don't know Lavius, go back to 2019 or whenever it was, on a team with Blur, winning the Goliath Gaming, winning the VS Championships at the time. So a super stellar DPS player. And NF9 is going to be coming in for Terran, who's having technical issues. And then Five Nights at Freddy's did pretty well in the Power Up Cup, but coming in here with a few changes. I cast this game these days as a Pharah dominating the skies, and with 150 ping, she can be a really hard hero to deal with. Your hit scan isn't quite on the level of a 20 ping EU player, and here we go again over the top. The fountain comes out, and immediately 2 pickoffs for Five Nights at Freddy's, make it 3.
Make it 3. Reptalia is cleaning up the server at the moment. A nice little response there onto Mito by NF9, but I mean, there's raised up, doesn't really mean too much. Lavius goes in just to try and get the denial, well, the res already taken up, should I say, so trying to get a little late pick, but this will be them coming in here not looking too healthy at the moment in terms of score.
No, it's that EMP, that's going to have to be the key here. Rexu with the team on his back, Lavius coming into the Pulse Bomb, and a Primal Rage at the ready. So there are some tools here for XvG Ragnarok to try and flip this point back in their favor, but it's going to be rough. We've seen how strong Raftalia, especially in the sky, is, so the key is ignoring him, I think, and taking out the squad, and that's what they're going to do here with an aggressive jump onto Fluffy.
That's exactly what they do. They aggressive jump onto Fluffy. Mito soon to follow. I thought Smiley was actually going to be the next one there, and that is Trickavon taking themselves out there, deciding that this fight is actually over because they say so. And that will be a full cleanup there. They didn't even have to expend the EMP there, their son. They just, it was a manual hack.
Yeah. That was perfect. That's exactly what you want out of a dive composition, right? They find the Cassidy, they find Fluffy on the Ana in the background, they get on top of them, and they take them down very effectively. It's kind of a problem with the Pharah comp, is they're quite split, and in this area here where they are at the moment, it can be really difficult to find those picks if you are the Pharah. So, nice play from XvG Ragnarok.
Very up front there. Rexu maybe tried to get himself in position for that EMP that they missed out on last time and immediately punished there by Raftalia and Drikovan. Now you'll see XvG backing up. They don't really have the time to do this though. Kind of need to stay on this point. NF9 will be contesting here. Are they going to pop that Primal Rage very quickly? But once again, Raftalia has found their way into the backline, picking out KK once again. Now, you'll see the members falling so low on the back of that barrage, not claiming any kills here. Restioson will prop their team up, and there comes that EMP, long awaited. They have still kept on to the point this entire time. Smiley doing a great job of keeping Raftalia alive despite all this pressure, and this dive is looking a little bit disjointed right now. XvG members getting picked off one by one as they keep themselves onto the point here. Lavius will be the last one alive for now.
Yeah, he's going to have to recall out here along with Rexu, so a lot of pressure now on XvG. Can they get on? Yes, they do, just barely. Lavius gets the touch alongside the Lucio, but he will end up going down. Raftalia finding Rexu as well, so last man standing here is Restioson, but Pixel still coming in here. Kitsune Rush as well, so damage on the point here, but not a lot of numbers for XvG Ragnarok.
Not a lot of numbers, and this is exactly the type of fight that they want with this Pharah composition. Do Five Nights at Freddy's. One by one coming through, one by one catching those rockets from Raftalia. That was a brutal opening for XvG, but we did see them when they combined that dive nicely. When they got that hack, they got that like the teamwork in, then they got the kills. They won the fight. They didn't even have to use an ult for that one. So if we can see more of that coming through from them, there are some definite signs of life here for XvG.
Yeah, but I think it gets...
There is always room for improvement. Greetings. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Round 2. Capture.
Angle, so it's very hard to dive in such a way that you can't dominate your backline. So
yeah,
it's going to be hard here for XvG to kind of fight into Raftalia, but they make some changes here. NF9 now onto the Diva, double hit scan, triple hit scan, including KK on the Ana. So XvG, I think their focus here is on shutting down the Pharah, and you can't really blame them.
There you can't, and there you go. It worked. Quick triple hit scan with the Diva. Raftalia was just destined to die there. It'll be interesting to see if they make an adaptation. I mean, I don't imagine that they will, considering that this comp is really strong, especially on this point. This is a renowned Pharah map is Shrine. We will see a very early grab here by XvG, and will be interesting to see if they can keep it up here.
Yeah, very nice. As you and I have said now, absolutely dominating that Pharah. And now Raftalia's going to have to change his playstyle here. That's going to be a key. You talked about adaptation. Of course, we know you don't have to change your heroes as long as you change your playstyle. And Raftalia's now going to have to use the cover, the natural cover that this map provides, and keep his Mercy alive as well. But they're putting a lot of focus on him here, and that could open up their backline here to a dive, courtesy of Drika. But he will end up dropping a Lavius, covering the team nicely.
Yeah, the Nano has actually already been expended onto the Pharah, and it has paid dividends there. Rexu is down. That is one of the hit scans out. NF9 is still holding Stalwart here on the point, chasing down Smiley, looking for that kill. We will see the race actually comes through onto Rexu. I don't know how they got away with that, but in the meantime, KK has perished. Both Annas now off the field, and the attack visor comes through, looking for that Pharah Mercy duo. Not able to find them, but eventually, Lavius does catch onto Smiley. Trickervan comes back. God. Oh, Raftalia gets 2! That is insane. That is massive work for the Pharah. It is a Wrecking Ball versus a Soldier who can stall out the longest. Drikovan does manage to get the beat down, and that will be a point reset, flip over for 5 Nights.
Unsurprising. You don't really want to be a Soldier 1v1ing a ball. KK was covering the Soldier from the main, but he was getting bumped around a lot, so no surprise she couldn't quite keep Lavius alive in that situation. But XvG can be really happy with how things stand at the moment. Mito, the only person with an ultimate here on the side of Five Nights at Freddy's, 64% on the clock, but they are going to drop the opening pick here, so the Pharah still being a terror from the skies.
So being a terror, but the rest does actually come through. Restioson buffeted up by that Valkyrie that to be able to get themselves through. Mito is actually just going to get taken. I put in the code of shame by NF9 and just burst out. NF9 is now going to hunt on Fluffy, see if they can get the kill onto them there. Big anti in the backline, but Fluffy is definitely caught way out of position. We'll see this Wrecking Ball doing its very best to stall things out here while members try and take out Smiley and Raftalia. They do manage to get the latter of that there, as now just the Wrecking Ball stalling out the point, just trying to get up that extra percentage.
Now 64% essay, but up to 54 5 nights here, but the point will flip back. So XvG in the driver's seat once again now. They've got the self-destruct to buy space on the point. They've got tactical visor almost at the ready. No support ult to speak of, but only really the mines on Five Nights and Freddy. So you're feeling pretty good as we head into potentially the final fight here for XvG Ragnarok. But they just need to be careful not to lose heroes in places they can't be resurrected by Restio-san. So we'll have to see what they can get done. The self-destruct takes out the Mercy to start.
That's probably the best person you can get, and especially with that bomb being so far away from where it was. There's no res, and you don't need the res if you're going to take out Fluffy as well. This fight is all but done here. Drikovan is just going to try and do their best to get rid of Rex, who actually does manage to do that, while Lavius is focused a little bit on the Pharah over the skies there. Drikovan is doing a fantastic job of staying alive here, just being a nuisance, but is unable to touch. I'm not sure what stopped them there. Was that map geometry, or was that a sleep from KK?
It was a bit of a senile, if we're being honest. The fight wasn't really going their way, but it was closer to 50-50 than 100-0 for XvG. So I think you can be a tiny bit disappointed as Five Nights there, but I think you were on the back foot in that team fight anyway. So you just kind of look forward here, see what you can get done for the next one. I think shout out to KK there on the Ana. She got a nice sleep onto Drika in the middle of his kind of mines. So he got the mines down, but didn't end up... wasn't able to sort of create the chaos that you want to create when your mines are down as a ball. So good work from the support there as we come to the next map here, which also has a name, which is
Village.
That's what I said.
Yeah,
And Drika Van, as we've decided to call him here, he's going to go back into the monkey here off the ball. They're going to stick with the Pharah counters now. This time Lavius, though, he will be on the Sojourn instead of the Soldier.
I'm interested to see how long they keep on the Sojourn instead of the Soldier, because obviously Sojourn can do a lot of damage to Pharah, especially like in burst. But you've got consistent pressure is sometimes quite a nice thing to have. Lavius is feeling that consistent pressure right now, as we will see Mito juggling up against KK, who manages to survive for incredibly long. And actually, Mito is the one that goes down, possibly pushing way too far into the spawn there. We will see Five Nights getting the initial cap here as XvG reset themselves up top.
Yeah, but that was a nice late pick onto Mito there, so they should have the numbers here, Ragnarok, as they come to this next fight, but they're kind of getting delayed out. They're kind of deciding, they did still have the Ana respawning as well, so it will be pretty even as they come into this. No ultimates incoming, so to speak, but NF9 almost actually at the self-destruct. Nice work from the Diva there, but look at the pressure on the backline here. The Monkey just getting all up in their business.
They could have capped that. Oh man, they could have capped that without like just a free cap. Lavius next up Mito again. Mito is just not participating in this fight. Raftalia is going to build themselves up to a barrage though very quickly here. So if the Pharah can manage to get a pick, I think they'll probably just reset it though.
Yeah,
that's definitely fight reset.
Absolutely, you just back out here and reset. You got 26%. You got a nice free early fight win, and now you can come in with a couple of ultimates. Of course, the Justice from above ready to go here. Primal almost ready. Blade almost ready. KK though, a lot of ultimates also almost ready on the other side. So this could be quite a big fight here. Great defense matrix onto the Justice to start it off though.
Yeah. Completely negating that barrage there, and I think maybe the chasing was a little bit too much though, as Rexu did go down first there, which means a little bit less pressure onto Raftalia, and we can see how that has panned out here. KK doing a fantastic job staying alive here on the back of that Mercy Valkyrie, but does eventually get pushed into the corner and beaten. While we see both supports now down for XvG, and it will be the rest of the team to follow, just seeing if they can stall themselves out for a little bit of extra percentage. Raftalia once again taking over the scoreboard, but that's a really nice bit of percentage ticked up there by XvG.
Yeah, but you're super happy as Five Nights at Freddy's here. Look what you had to use. You had to use Rocket Barrage, Primal Rage, and Rocket Barrage is basically ready to go at 60% once again. Yeah. On top of that, you got 3 ultis for both teams here, but you'd rather be the defender than the attacker here with some of the ultimates they have. We're going to have to see here. Lavius might be a key with the overclock, and as I say that, he is a key in the sense that he's been removed from the game, and the door is now firmly locked as far as XvG Ragnarok are concerned.
Yeah, that's just a quick fight reset there for XvG as they get their Sojourn back here. Very commanding position for Raftalia, just able to rain down damage the whole way that they come up there. NF9 not able to protect Rexu, and they will protect the res, but will KK and Restiosan survive this?
Seems okay so far as they move forward here, but Raftalia from the sky, man. They have to get into this choke, but you can see there's a flank coming out from the Sojourn here. Lavius looking for something, but oh my god, a quick trip. The big kill at least onto Fluffy, but 81% on the clock. They've got some time to get back into this next fight, but it's not looking great for Ragnarok at the moment.
Yeah, that bomb thrown in ever so slightly too deep there from
Yeah.
NF9, not able to deny the space that they wanted. And as you said, 91% on the board here. And this coming point, Rexu is actually going to pull out a Pharah of their own, deciding that the duel is actually the better way to go. So let's see if the ego doesn't get there.
Nope.
Is that a
doesn't
C9?
get there. Nah, they were trying to work their way through. I think maybe you can get there, but you get there with the kind of HP where you die the instant you land. So, top 500. Cool. Must be nice, eh?
Must be nice.
Really, really good performance from Five Nights, of course, taking the W here. But I'm glad to see XvG putting up a very solid performance here. I always have the fear with a team like XvG Ragnarok that they can come in with a plan and have it immediately parried and then end up sort of being lost in a game. And we saw that when they were playing against Blackwatch last year, funnily enough, a team that Lavius performed so well on, and they struggled as well against the Pharah on that occasion and never really looked like they were coming up with a solution. Already, we've seen more adaptation from them in the form of going for that triple hit scan, and more importantly, in my opinion, the Diva from NF9. I think that, or NF9? Yes, NF9.
Yes.
I think that's a really, really nice adaptation, and it just takes the pressure off the rest of the team. Of course, it's not a golden bullet by any sense of the imagination, but it allows you a little bit more freedom to play, for the other heroes to play, if the Diva can keep the pressure on the Pharah. So
For sure.
I'm very, very happy with that. Next map is going to be Blizzard World. Pharah is still very happy on this map. First point, second point especially. And so the question always, when you've got a match like this where one team is seeming to have a little bit more of an idea of how they want to do things than another, is how does Ragnarok force adaptations out of Five Nights? So you have to force them into a space that so far they haven't had to be forced into, in the sense of being on a slightly different composition where they can't just rely on Raftalia's Pharah.
Yeah, for sure. And I know you said now Blizzard World is a good Pharah map. It's only good in the stages, right? So obviously the initial chokehold, very, very difficult to break through a Pharah. Around that central pillar, also like quite difficult. Quite difficult to deal with that Pharah around the crystal there. But if they can get themselves good rotations, then we can.
Whoops.
Yes, slight technical issues. Everyone got DC'd.
No, I think there was some confusion. I think many people believe we are on Bahrain, and Fluffy is convinced we're in the Netherlands. So there's some confusion over to what server we are. Generally, we like to be on EU, I suppose.
Yeah, I think that's what.
So yeah, unfortunate. We will just have to do a quick remake here, but it gives us more time to talk. Frosty, we had zero time to talk about the matchup coming into this and how these teams kind of match up to each other. So we've got Five Nights at Freddy's coming off a really, really strong Power-Up Cup performance. I think they came third, or they were about the third best team, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Behind, at the time, Beastie Boys, and obviously Inglourious Blasters, who ended up champions of the Power-Up Cup. So this is a team that were, during the Power-Up Cup, operating near the pointy end of the field here. Whereas Ragnarok ended up fifth, and was sort of, in my opinion, a more middle-of-the-road team than the upper echelon of teams. So that's kind of where we're at here, these two teams and how they match up. Now, that said, Five Nights at Freddy's coming off a pretty huge 3-0 victory against the Beastie Boys in the last round of matches in the Rhino Showdown. So they're coming in with a ton of momentum, whereas XvG Ragnarok got handed a 3-0 loss to Inglourious Blasters, as you do, as happens to everyone. We're having some server issues here. I guess.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what the issue is, but it's okay. We'll get it all sorted. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And you said it gives us a bit of extra time to chat there. Funny that you mentioned the top three teams of last year being Inglourious Blasters, Beastie Boys, and Five Nights. So Five Nights have now come off last week a 3-0 victory over Beastie Boys, right? So they are looking incredibly scary at the moment, considering Beastie Boys have a long running kind of, what's I'm looking for. I'll think of the word. They're a good team. Dominance. Dominance is a good one. Yeah, dominance over like South African Overwatch. Everyone knows the name. You come up against them, you see them on the score sheet, you go, this is going to be a tough one. You know, so a 3-0 victory against them is incredibly terrifying, right? But having said that, and now obviously being a map in, we have the benefit of like seeing how things have changed. So last time that we casted XvG specifically, we did give them a lot of stick, you know, for not being able to adapt, not being able to adjust anything about themselves. They just go, this was the plan, and we are just going head first, down, straight, head against the wall. That's what we're doing. And as you said, we've already seen some adaptations. If Reptalia is going to be sticking on this Pharah the whole time, which, I mean, if they're as good as they back themselves to be, and they are, then we're going to have to see both Lavius and Rexu pulling out their best hit scan performance. Both of them, fortunately, are hit scan players. So maybe this lights out for them of Rinku Herrero, sadly missed tonight due to load shedding, is actually going to work a little bit in their favor. Maybe they would have actually kept both Lavius and Rexu in the game regardless, just to make sure to keep this Pharah in check. And if they can keep these performances like this first map up, if they can keep it going on for the rest of the series, then maybe they'll be like a more of a contender, like less of that like middle of the road team, but heading towards the upper echelons to meet up with Five Nights at Freddy's, Inglorious Blasters, Beastie Boys, and Blackwatch and the likes of them.
Well, Blackwatch is famously very dead now. I think the key for a team like Ragnarok is that they're, from my perspective at least, they're always building. So they're a team that we as viewers of the game are kind of building a story around constantly, because they're a team that's going to stick together for the long haul. They've got a good backbone as a team structure. They've got a manager, they've got a coach, and they've got players who all hang out together most of the time, and who have been playing together for quite a long time.
Friendship
if not on the same team, exactly. If not on the same team, then at least they all hang out together fairly regularly outside of the competitive environment. So you know, this is a team that is constantly building, constantly working to getting better. They've all, for the most part, got a lot of experience. Now with adding Lavis to the squad, that experience only increases. So it's a team that we're expecting to see get better and better and better. Now the question is always, can the rate that they improve keep up with the rate that other teams are improving as well? Because a lot of these teams would have been created for the Power Up Cup specifically, and they may not be practicing super hard or whatever, but these are top tier players who benefit from even just one match a week together, playing together. They're going to be getting better and better and better. The other thing obviously we haven't mentioned yet, which is a bit of an elephant in the room here, Prostitute, is that this patch is about to be sunsetted. Obviously 8 p.m. the new patch is slated to come out, season 4 of the competitive seasons. Life Giver, the brand new hero, so everything's going to get flipped on its head a little bit here. Now there aren't any changes on the level of, like, I don't know, huge hero reworks, right? Obviously some heroes are getting big changes. Heroes like Brig, for example, getting pretty significant changes to her rally, and then anytime you introduce a new hero, it changes the dynamics of all the heroes in the game.
Yes.
So with Life Giver coming in, he adds in a few pretty wild mechanics, right? So like that yoink mechanic seems pretty insane in my opinion. And then of course there aren't that many heroes who can alter terrain, and so that petal lift. I can't remember what the exact name for it, but yeah, the giant petal platform, I think it's called.
Petal platform. They went real creative with that one, eh?
Exactly, right. So that's a fairly unique mechanic. Only really May has something equivalent, right, with the ice wall where you can stand on it and then it changes terrain, and also Symmetra as well with the teleport. So those are things that are going to benefit from you nailing out a few, I hesitate to use the word cheese strats, but some very practice strats where you can be like, right, we're going to use the wall to hold this, the pad. I keep on calling it pad as well, because it looks like a lily pad, right? But
same.
The platform to hold new positions, to move in certain ways, that you can practice that and come up with some cool ideas.
Yeah, true. You can come up with some things. So my first thought when I saw that, we're just going to call it lily pad because it makes me happy.
Yeah.
The lily pad was that if I'm playing Rhino and the enemy is playing Rhino, I'm really going to want my Life Weaver to just throw it underneath their Rhino as I shatter, because then they're entitled in the back and their Rhino has absolutely nothing to do with it. That was my first thought. I know everyone else was like, how can I troll my teammates with the life hook? They actually thought about that. I saw a really cool video of like all the things that you can't do with obviously another one where you showed how you could troll them. But let's ignore that, because obviously we're all very good gamers and we'd never troll our teammates. That would be horrendous.
Yeah. So in Dota, for example, there used to be a setting where you could say, like, you could turn it on and a lot of spells couldn't be used on you.
Okay.
So for example, I don't know, a particular hero has a particular spell that puts another hero to sleep, and you can use that on enemies and allies because they're immune to damage at that time. And you can turn on a setting that means they can't use that on you. So obviously, if you're in a pug setting and someone is trolling you, you can just turn the setting on and then they can troll you less.
Yes.
So there's nothing like that in Overwatch. So I'm always like, you know, but as you say, there are counter plays. For example, most mobility items, I believe, cancel the pull. So like if Genji dashes, the pull will get cancelled, stuff like that.
Doom punch.
And there's exactly. So and there's also certain spells that won't get pulled, more for the combo potential than for griefing things. Like you can't pull Terror Surge, for example.
That would be so much fun.
Arissa won't. That would be. She could just run behind, and then you could pull her through the whole team and Terror Surge everybody, which I think would be a cool idea. But I guess that's not what they want out of the game at the moment.
No, not really. I mean, I think they did. I'd like to think the Blizz devs did play test it and go, okay, like they all went, okay, but I could pull someone off the edge. Like, okay, if we can think of it, everyone else can think of it.
Yeah.
That's yeah. Okay. So, with any luck, we have now got everyone in the same server and in the same game, and we should be able to get this game on the way after a nice little talk about Life Weaver and other such things. Let's get back into Blizzard World and what we expect from this. I don't expect Five Nights to change too much. If they do change anything, it would be the Pharah, I would imagine. But you know, we'll have to see what they do there. We can see them hovering the Sojourn Tor, but maybe they're just concerned about, you know, not stream sniping, but like strat sniping. Like yeah, you know, this is what they picked. Oh, okay, cool, that's fun. You know, we just want to see what is going on here. Unfortunately, Lavius has been removed from the game once again, but it should be hopefully a short issue. And in the meantime, we can talk about what we think XvG will come through. Son, what are you thinking that they'll run out the gates here?
I mean, they've already shown their hand quite a bit, right, in terms of what they want to do most of the time. And we've mentioned it before, but I think that this is a team that kind of personifies the idea of doing one punch 1,000 times.
100%.
They will kind of pick a composition, on paper the best composition, try and figure out its nuances, its ins and outs, and then get really good at it. And so at times, of course, as we've noted now, they can kind of come off looking a bit inflexible, which they can be, of course. And otherwise, but the idea is obviously we want to learn the strengths and weaknesses of a particular composition.
Yeah, exactly.
And alter our playstyle rather than the composition itself, if we have faith in the composition. Exactly. Now, what I expect to see here is I expect them to counter the Pharah straight off the bat here, in the sense that they're going to come up with heroes that deal with the Pharah. Now, as you said, as we can see, Raftalia not on the Pharah currently, so that's going to be interesting to see how that works out. But I expect to see EDF9 on the Diva once again. I think you can't really argue with the fact that it doesn't work or hasn't been working. And then we're going to see Lavius, at least at the beginning, and Rexu start on some sort of hit scan. So be it the Soldier, Rexu seems pretty happy on the Cassidy, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that. However, I will say we have seen him play the Sombra already today, and I think that's a pretty solid pick here to open on Blizzard World with. At least historically speaking, that's something we used to see a lot. So yeah, they've got a few options here, and I think a lot of what they do, I think it wouldn't surprise me to see them struggle with the initial push, and once they get a sense of what the defenders are doing, XvG can really craft a composition that counters it a bit better.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, I'm being distracted by the fact that we are now in multiple countries. We have moved across the entirety of Europe to try and get all the players into this game here. We are going to experience another pause, but that's okay. Let's talk back to what we were talking about there. I do agree. They have made some changes here. So, as you said, focusing more on the macro style side of the game, focusing on what they can make work. I think it's also like some strats that are more tried and true by Overwatch League, especially now with the Prime, they can see Overwatch League and contenders strategies, trying to see, okay, cool, this seems to be what can work, and in theory we can make that work as well. So let's do what we can compositionally and stylistically to try and make that work. And I would say that you mentioned there they've got themselves a coach, they've got themselves a manager, keeping themselves in line and making sure that they know what is going on, that what they know that they're not to change about the game, and it seems to be paying off for them. Right, I think it is. They have run quite a tough line so far. I think played Inglorious Blasters last week, and now up against 2 weeks ago. Excuse me, up against Five Nights. Pretty tough games to run yourselves into, but looking quite good. Now let's talk about Five Nights, right? As we said earlier, looking incredibly scary. This is a very interesting composition to come out on. I mean, you said NF9, which should come out in the Diva. I'm not sure if they just fully backed on not having the Pharah here, but we're going to see a nice bit of Sigma dueling to start this off.
Yeah, I think it makes perfect sense for Ragnarok. I suggested they might do that, but what I forgot is that this is a team who's going to know a map and a composition on a map, and that's probably what they're going to lean into, and that's what they've done here. This is their comp on this map. They're going to run it, see if it works, try and make it work. Immediately, though, Raftalia now still contributing no matter what hero is on, getting the picks here. Enemy tank will drop, so Five Nights happy to push forward and clean it up.
Yeah, Five Nights pushing through here. Mito getting the final kill onto KK after Drikovan does a nice little two-piece, and that will be the fight there. They're probably just going to take this high ground again. Raftalia really does need to be displaced in that before they can move forward here. I think NF9 was possibly a little bit disjointed there from the rest of the team, not providing as much support as needed, but they will be all good now seeing them wrap around to the high ground here.
Yeah, always worth remembering here as Raftalia once again finds Rexu on the way through. Worth remembering that NF9 is not their normal tank, right? Their normal tank is Terran Lord. So if he was in, they might feel a little bit more comfortable. Their movements might be a bit crisper. And this is just a rollout, right? And it's getting dismantled by Raftalia on the flank every time. So you can this is the kind of situation exactly where you will be missing your usual tank.
For sure. I mean, obviously, having said that, NF9 is definitely not doing a bad job. NF9 is doing a fantastic job. So for sure, no, I know it wasn't an insult, but for sure, we will see some changes now. We're going to look at a more hardcore dive style from XvG, who are going to come into this very aggressively now and look to take the high ground by force, not by like this back and forth. The NF9 sees the rock dive straight in onto Fluffy, takes them out with the help of Lavius. Beautiful shots there. The Sigma is in a world of hurt as Restiosin gets the final shot there. Raftalia is going to whip out the overclock and takes out Lavius immediately. Smiley is top, keeping them topped up, but eventually Rexu will get the beatdown onto the Sojourn. It is now just Mito and Smiley on the point here. The Torbjorn and the Mercy. Smiley doing some fantastic Mercy just to keep themselves alive here, well. As Rexu is Rexu is going to push everything back. Mito is going to keep touching. They still have not killed this Torbjorn as they've just been battling it out in the choke. And here comes back Drikovan with the flux, gets Restiosin, and NF9 falls down. Fantastic stalling by Mito.
Yeah, Peach in the background here making sad noises, which you can understand because that was looking really good for XvG Ragnarok, right? The key there, though, Smiley, Mito, two heroes that can be quite difficult to kill. Of course, Mito can build up a bunch of armor for himself or pop the overcharge and get a bunch of armor. Smiley also committed the Valkyrie there. They had faith that they could buy enough time for the team to get back, and the team did get back with some ultimates in tow, like the Gravitic Flux. So, nice play from our blue team here, but XvG coming out nicely, and they will get aggressive here now with the sound barrier, with the dragons as well, so they want to get this one wrapped up quick.
Yeah, they've used the beat, but they didn't go in with it. That's maybe a little bit of a misplay there. They will see the Kiriko rush committed as well as the Primal Race throwing everything and the kitchen sink. There comes the blade as well. XvG really want this point, and they want it now. Raftalia does actually pick up Rexu during that play, but look at the space that it has created. Lavius takes out Fluffy. and Smiley. That means no healing for the side.
Lavius.
Obviously, Lavius taking out 3 members there, headshot after headshot, getting a 4-piece for themselves. That Hanzo went absolutely crazy. He said, listen, if you guys aren't going to do it, I'm doing it right now.
Yeah, but that's space created, right, by the front line. Sigma can't send his shield to stop Lavius on the high ground, so Lavius has kind of a shooting gallery down from that platform. But of course, anytime you get a guy like Lavius on your team, that's what he can do. He can kind of just have these team fights where it's just him and him alone that can pop off. You give him the space, and he will use it very effectively. And then obviously you get team fights where he's just going to die at the beginning. But that happens to the best of us, as Lavius might actually be. And struggling now, Five Nights Freddy going to get aggressive and look to close out this team fight.
Yeah, look to close it out here. I mean, I don't think you're too unhappy here if you're XvG. That's an ult kind of use where you were already somewhat backing up. Only Restioson being caught, obviously quite a quick hero. You're okay with that. That late kill onto KK, though, is a bit of a problem. Lavius is quite happy to keep going here and actually doesn't clean up Smiley there with that dragon strike. NF9 going to jump in here. And there comes the recontest, all piling up onto Drikovan. Not quite sure who to focus here between Raftalia and Drikovan. And it turns out you should have focused at least one of them, because between them, they've
seen them just back up and get up. I think they saw an opportunity to deal with Smiley there, as you said. But they end up feeding 2 more, and that's another 10-15 seconds burned off here. They will be coming in now with the beat once again, but that's really all they have to work with. K might be able to get the Kitsune rush up, but they're going to try and get control of this high ground. It's a good decision, and they're using the dive very effectively here. XvG Ragnarok. Now looking for the next target, but Fluffy. He opens the bank here for Five Nights.
Fluffy opening the account there, and on the back of that, Drikovan and the rest of Five Nights are going to push themselves right up here. Lavius and Restioson probably need to get themselves out of there, as they're in between 4 different members, and Fluffy is in their face. That is so aggressive from the Baptiste here. We will see another overclock pop by Raftalia in the time that Rexu has not yet built up one of their own, and that is just so much damage, way too much for XvG to deal with them. And I think, as you mentioned earlier, they do actually just need to reset themselves now.
Yeah, that was okay what they did there, because NF9 got back pretty quick, so they were stuck in the bottom there. They could have pulled a few players out of position, but Five Nights weren't really falling for that gambit, or at least were able to get back in time. So they are really, really in the driver's seat now. You never want to be coming out of spawn into a molten core here and a window. This could be a disaster, but they've got a Primal Rage here to make space, and it looks like that's NF9's plan.
As NF9, yeah, pushing everyone up the high ground. Fantastic choices there. Isolating Mito here, making sure that they can't get back the team, that they do actually manage to get there. Raftalia manages to get the differential onto Rexu, and Mito kills out Restioson without the beat able to be used here. We will see the Kitsune Rush has been popped, but to no avail here on the side of XvG, and an exceptionally dominant hold here for Five Nights. That payload is actually almost back to where it started.
Yeah, that's you can't be too happy with that as Ragnarok. But you did take first points. So you've given yourself something to defend now. You have to look at this game and give a huge shout out, obviously, to Raftalia on the Sojourn, always starting a fight out with a pick, but also to the supports there, Fluffy and Smiley on Five Nights, doing an amazing job keeping the team healthy. And no players lost there after they lost that first point cap. So Five Nights, they were kind of rolled over a little bit by the dive, but once they identified how to deal with that, they did so effectively. So XvG now in a tough position. Yes, they've got a point to defend, but with how they've been steamrolled in the second half of that attack, I think Five Nights are pretty happy here, and they've got options that they can use. They haven't brought out the Raftalia Farah just yet, so in fact, it's going to be Rexu who brings out the Farah. So yeah, XvG is struggling to figure out what they want to do. They're going to go back to the Sigma here. I think it makes a lot of sense on defense here, when you don't have to sort of mess around with a very crisp rollout. And Mito's going to be on the Hanzo here. So this could be interesting, but I think Five Nights very, very happy here with whatever comes out of XvG.
Yeah, I fully agree with you there. I don't want to be too much of a stickler, but I really do want to go back to that initial fight, that initial dive fight, where XvG cleaned up 3 members, of Five Nights, and then just couldn't deal with the Mito and Smiley right at the end there. Just couldn't clean them up. And I think that came down to a little bit of like target prioritization. You know, sometimes some would focus on keeping the choke available while the others were back at the start, and it just meant that no one really died. I mean, 4 or 5 members shooting at a Torbjorn will kill them, right? Doesn't no matter what you're doing. and that's unfortunately didn't happen. But let's continue to the here and now. Djokovic is going to dive straight into the fight there. Lavius takes out Mito before the fight starts, and NF9 will be in full control now, as Djokovic doesn't really have that spam damage to back themselves up. Some beautiful shots coming through here onto Raftalia from Lavius and Rexu, but not able to confirm the final blow. Then Raftalia is actually going to be the first one to get the kill there. The aerial duel won out by the Echo. Drakovan will fall onto Lavius, and that is the DPS of XvG gone now. It will just be the supports and NF9 going forward as they do. Restios went for the res, didn't quite get it, but that's going to be a little bit rough.
Fool's errand there, perhaps from Restio's son. Look, it's rough to lose it so quickly, but as long as they all die together, regroup together here, don't get split as they spawn, as Lavius gets picked off. This could be bad now if they get this cap, but there's still a player on the point here in the background, so buying time for the team. Maybe they can get a few picks on the front line, but it's going to be tough as, Fluffy, Mito, happy to set up on point here, look to get the kill. Rexu finds one.
Rexu almost managed to get the stall onto the point. I mean, they wouldn't have lived too long, as you see Fluffy does end up taking them out there. And we will see this 3v3 in the spawn of XvG. Raftalia and a Primaling Drikovan, who primals a Sigma out of their ult here. Okay, I did have a little bit of help from a copied Sigma, so yeah, a little bit of an unfair fight. And it will be Fluffy and Mito just on the point here, keeping the cart rolling, just about to cap, and there it does come through. That was a much more dominant showing from Five Nights.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you could see that was my biggest fear after they won that first fight, is that they would do exactly that and keep them from being able to regroup effectively. Of course, Primal Rage is basically in the spawn. That's probably not what I would have had on my bingo card, but it's what they needed to do in that situation, right? And if they all die there, it's fine. It takes time for XvG to get back towards the point and go for a recontest. So Five Nights playing with a ton of confidence here, it has to be said. They look like the better team, and it feels like they're playing like they know they're the better team, if you understand what I'm saying there very clumsily. The question now again falls onto XvG Ragnarok here. How do you solve the problems that Five Nights are posing here? But the problem is, Frosty, Five Nights are not posing, they haven't run one comp here, and you need to come up with a solution to that. They're a team with options that they are using very effectively here. Raftalia dominated on the Pharah, moved over to the Sojourn and dominated on that as well. So it's rough here. I'm sad we didn't get to see Terran Lord in here. No disrespect to NF9, of course, but you never want to play with a substitute main tank. That's like, if you could pick any hero to lose, you would not pick the main tank. So the only tank. So yeah, that you can see how they're struggling a bit, playing with an unfamiliar player, and kind of getting their setup as a unit. And this is a team that thrives on playing as a unit.
It's true. They are 100%, as you can see, they're fully focused. Five Nights, I did say there. Five Nights, at least playing with a player that is on their roster, right? As you said, NF9 picked up at the last second as an unfortunate result of, load shedding being load shedding as it does. It is what it is, just one of those things. We are actually going to head into Havana as our next map here. Obviously, no substitutions to be made. I think all teams have used up all their substitutes to fix up what the South African government lacks. But we will hopefully be able to see a bit of a Sigma duel on this. I'm expecting some long-range hit scan coming through from Rexu, but as you can see on your screens right now, we have a very, very aggressive spawn hold looking to come through from Five Nights, who want this game wrapped up very quickly.
Yeah, probably sad they couldn't attack first, right? Because then you can just force your way through and get it down quickly. There are players who have load shedding at 8, so they are raring to finish up quickly. But aggressive hold, that's what you do on
4 minutes,
later, right? So 4 minutes plus however long it takes for the switch over to happen. So
I was saying it's 4 minutes to 8, man.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Yes. For sure. You said that they'd rather be on attack, but I actually disagree. I think they would love to be on defense here. Because
Yeah,
if you
that's fair,
hold the
that's
team right here, then all you have to do is push it like that little bit that they
Yeah.
managed to get, if they managed to get anyway, right? I'm expecting to see a couple changes here. Yeah, we'll see NF9 coming up on the Rhino as well. Rexu tried to pin Drikovan and just died immediately for it. We will see them coming out the side here. Does get a res, and we'll see look to hope for isolations.
Yeah, Mito on the Torbjorn here is one of his favorite heroes, I have to say. Well, he will tell you. And so him being able to use it here is really nice for them. Set up a cross angle here with the turret and just put the damage down and get picks. But some picks coming out here, and in a situation like this, any pick for XvG Ragnarok is absolutely massive because the respawn advantage is so huge for the defenders, and they are getting picks now for us too.
Yeah, NF9 takes out both the tank and the Baptiste. The tank, unfortunately, rezzed up. And as a result of that, Raphtalia actually can't be rezzed up. Lavius comes back, drops the wheels, and that is so much damage into Five Nights. No more Pharah, only a Mercy and a Reinhardt, and a shattering Reinhardt. Drikovan puts NF9 on his back. NF9 is still alive, though, and will not for too much longer. Lavius are hoping to punish the Rhine for their hubris, and we will see, unfortunately, a lamp being thrown down there, or unfortunately if you're Lavius. Very happy if you drink it one.
Yeah, I like the decision from Lavius to go into the Bastion here. So here you can really punish any small positional errors from Five Nights at Freddy's, but unfortunately just end up going down there. Window is out currently, pressure being put on, and now finally it feels like we've got a full 5v5 here for the first time since the map started.
Yeah, there comes the Bastion ult and the what's I'm looking for, the McFlurry thing. Quickly responded by Raphtalia with the barrage in the backline, taking out KK and Lavius and Rexu. That is the Pharah just going absolutely crazy. They did not account for the flying girl to be there.
I'm sure they did plenty of accounting, but they're pretty bad at that. I think Frosty, right? Like, I mean, what can you do in this situation? You're getting under so much pressure. Lavius is now like, oh, well, I'll try the Widowmaker. Let's see what happened. The Bastion didn't work, but they're getting shut down. Raphtalia finds NF9 there after a mutual charge, so it's looking pretty bad for Ragnarok here. Five Nights just in complete control here. Again, we're focusing a lot on the DPS there as a shadow on the front line as well. Having to commit Soundbear just to get out of the spawn here.
Yeah, I was going to say, XvG are looking very disjointed right now. They're not really playing together. Like, each one's kind of just like, oh, look at the right, oh, look at the BAP, oh, look at this one. Like, they haven't really got themselves into a thing. They just need to calm themselves. They just need to collect. And they need to go. Fluffy is in between all five of them, but they can't really look at them when the Pharah is in your backline. Rexu will cross-map snipe Mito, and in the meantime, Fluffy will take on the duel against KK. The Ryan and May and Lucio are on the cart up against the Wrecking Ball, but unfortunately they had the 3v1, but now Raphtalia is back, and there comes another barrage. Rexu does take out Raphtalia, but they are unable to cancel the res. What happened to the shadow there? Oh no, that's going horribly wrong for NF9.
Yeah, very, very unfortunate there, but this is a hard team to find valuable status against when they're playing so split up as Five Nights are. As we see the ball now, Drikovan is off the Ryan onto the ball. We've seen how good he can be on Nepal with this hero, and it's happy just to get him in early, and he'll even find the pick onto NF9 now. This is such a chaotic team fight, and that's really not in Ragnarok's wheelhouse as the timer ticks down. Raphtalia getting pick after pick after pick. Overtime ticks over. There's a ball, a blizzard on point, but it's not looking good here for Ragnarok.
It is not looking good for Ragnarok at all. There is one member on the point with 5 members firing at them. We have a disconnect.
It's on the dot.
We have a pause.
So I suspect somebody disconnected.
No.
There goes KK.
There goes KK. That is a little unfortunate. I mean, let's hope it's just a little router drop, and they'll be back momentarily. According to chat, that is exactly what happened. So all good. But yes. I do want to go back to what I was saying earlier. I don't think XvG gave themselves a chance this point. They didn't. They had a plan. They went cool. We'll meet them at the run. We'll bash into them. We'll get the picks. They did it. They did fantastically. They then expected, I think, Raphtalia to switch off the Pharah, which they didn't. Right? And then thereafter, they were kind of like, I don't know what to do. Something is happening everywhere, and I'm going to pretend like I'm in that movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once, and we're just going to let that fly, which plays so much better in Five Nights' favor.
Oh god, and sorry, it's 8 o'clock, so the new game, the new version of the game is out. So
What now?
that's pretty disastrous. Because if K updates, which many of us will have preloaded the update, so she'll be on version 0.x+1, and everyone else will be on the previous version. So she will not be able to join us.
Oh man, okay, that is.
Look, if I was XvG here, I'd probably just maybe let me not say that, but I would just forfeit and be like, look, you guys pretty clearly had this one in the bag. And unfortunately, it's on us. But I mean, you can never ask a team to do that. Like,
no, for sure.
They're here to win. They're here to be fighting at the top of the first division. So you can't expect them to be like, yeah, whatever, you can have the win. It's fine.
Yeah, when you're like you said, you're here to play. You're here to practice. You're here to, as we'll always say, here to have fun, right? It actually looks like XvG are gonna play it 4v5. And I respect that so much. I think they're happy to go maybe big brain strats. They're hoping for more DCs from Five Nights than they can get 4v3. Son, this is big strats.
You're sort of half joking here, but when you play Dota and the game is going on for like an hour, you check the time and you go, oh, you know what? It's actually like getting close to load shedding. Right? Does anybody on the team have load shedding? Nobody has load shedding. So let's just grind this game out as long as we can, and hope that when the window ticks over here, they drop a few players.
Look, we're in a competitive environment, right? You want to get as any competitive advantage that you can. I'm not gonna comment as to how in this further game it is, but this is high level Overwatch. We're focusing on what's happening. And let's talk about what is happening, right? We now have a 4v5. XvG are currently one tank.
Oh, okay. Who's next, boys?
Who's next?
What are our numbers doing here?
Okay, before I speak.
Oh, it's Mito.
It's a 4v4. It's a 4v4.
Okay, we've got a game in our hands, boys. What's the minimum we can get here?
4v4, Overwatch 3.
3v3. There we go. Overwatch 3, yes, 4v4. Let's go.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got KKL, we've got Meteor. Okay, we have 1 DPS, 2 supports, and a tank versus 1 tank, 2 DPS, 1 support.
I'd much rather be the team who lost a DPS than a team who lost a support. Personally, I think playing with 1 fewer DPS is a lot easier than playing with healing. Your healer has to heal 2 DPS and a tank.
Okay, so I'm gonna play devil's advocate just because we're gonna try a thing, right? So think about how much more damage XvG can do right now, right? So we've got just Raphtalia, who obviously we expect to be on the Widow, but is the Widow on the Pharah.
He's going to do the Widow. That changes the dynamic completely, right? Because that's a terrible hero in this situation.
It is. I mean, you had such a good advantage with the Pharah in the sky. I mean, that was just all you really needed to do. We will see. Smiley actually gets the kill onto who was it? Restioson? No, Rexu and Lavius actually the Moira being the full DPS as she was truly meant to be. Fluffy is going to come through for the cleanup, and the supports have got all the kills here for Five Nights. The Junkrat Gambit not really paying off as Raphtalia takes super aggressive positioning and kills Lavius. Maybe this is what the Widow is for. Raphtalia is just going to be able to pick them up before they can even play. Restioson is going to come through here. Yeah. It's going to have so many members looking at them. Fluffy can hit those kunai. Fluffy does hit those kunai. Smiley hits those right clicks a little bit easier, but we won't talk about that. And as of right now, we've got a Hog that is just not being allowed to touch the 4v4 won by 4 Knights at Freddy's up against XvG Ragnarok, I guess?
Ragnar? Yeah.
Ragnar?
Look, here's the thing, Frosty. How many DPS can heal versus how many healers can do damage? It's another thing you've got to think about, right? They picked Kiriko and they picked I don't know what the other hero was.
Moira.
Moira, right? Two heroes that can A, keep themselves alive, and B, also do damage, right? So Raftalius and the Widowmaker, I mean, at that point, he's just flexing, right? Because
Yeah, that is a flex. That is a hard.
You could play Pharah, as you said, and just dominate. Especially when the enemy are down a healer. If you kill their healer, they're dead. They have nothing.
Yeah, that's GG.
And that's why you saw at the end there, NF9 switching onto the Roadhog, because he's like, we've got a dearth of healing. If I'm a big healing sink, then that means the 2 DPS are getting 0 healing. So that's the thing. That's kind of one of the big problems about losing one of your healers, is that you have your window to play as a tank is way smaller.
Yeah.
But look, that's the kind of Overwatch you're not really expecting to see very frequently, right?
No, it's not. Like this is hopefully a one-off.
Yes, hopefully a one-off, and we never have to see this again. No disrespect to the teams and the players, of course. Most of us watching here are likely to be South African. We know the struggle. We know how this goes, and unfortunately today, everything kind of lined up. We were already playing at 7, which is obviously quite unusual. And that was to dodge this load shedding, and then we had tech delays both from us, the casters, and the players as well. So altogether a bit of a mess, but at the end of it all, Frosty, I think we can safely say Five Nights looking the stronger of the two teams.
100%, yeah. Five Nights definitely looking there. I just want to bring one point into what you were saying earlier with that one healer. I think XvG made a bit of a mistake spreading themselves out when they had a Moira who really thrives on that like kind of close to grouped up kind of healing that we saw Dallas Fuel play a lot of in Overwatch 2 and going into Overwatch 1 and going into Overwatch 2. But that's besides the point. As you said there, Five Nights at Freddy's incredibly dominant. A very, very good showing from XvG on Nepal, but thereafter Five Nights at Freddy's really stepped it up, really put the pressure on, and they were incredibly dominant. This is a very scary team going forward. As you said, unfortunately we got load shed, we got blackout. It happened. We can move on. I think hopefully it doesn't happen again, but we'll see. I certainly had a lot of fun. We got to chat a bit of trash, a bit of smack here and there, which is always a good time. But as you said, thank you so much for everyone who joined in tonight. There is another game coming up in, I think, probably very soon, in the next 5 minutes or so. So please do stay tuned. Don't leave. You won't put your webcam to see my beautiful face or Sun's. But there will be plenty of other beautiful casters and fantastic Overwatch for everyone. Here's to hoping that one is not cut short by the likes of electricity. Do stay tuned, and we will see you very shortly.